Hello, everyone, and welcome to 180 Degrees of Impact. My name is Matt Scott, and today I am joined by some might know him as Tom, some might know him as Mr. Baker, some might know him as Councilman Tom Baker. But Tom, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Matt. Good morning. Thanks so much.
Good morning, and I appreciate you starting the day out early with me. How's everything going so far?
Things are going well in Pittsburgh. I actually got back late last night. I went to IUP, Indiana University of PA, for graduate school, and my wife and I actually fund an annual scholarship there every year. So I was there. I got back from IUP around 10:30 last night, and this was a fun story, Matt. We actually, the student that received the scholarship this year was one of my students at Penn State Altoona. Her name is Megan Delsite, and for the program that I've been helping to lead the last few years at Penn State Altoona, she's one of our wonderful students there. Went to IUP for grad school, and she's doing great there as well. So it's just kind of everything coming together last night, which is great.
Okay, yeah, I know you're very busy and have a lot going on. So one thing I definitely want to get a better understanding of, because you are a man of many trades. What is it? How do you describe yourself or introduce yourself and the many things that you're up to?
Yeah, I mean, I think through all the different things that I'm lucky enough to do, honestly, like between my Big Brothers Big Sisters life, being on county council, through Get Involved, the nonprofit that we started, the core thing within all of that is that we help people. I mean, I think as a legislator, still one of the best things you absolutely get to do is help people on a daily basis, get to help them with their issues, get to help them with their concerns. We have a staff here in Allegheny County of over 5,000, and anytime that I can connect any of my 100,000 residents from District 1 to folks that work within the county and just really try to help them with their issues. It's just such a good feeling. Same with Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's really just about getting volunteers in the door so that they can work with children in our community, work with students. I think in a lot of ways it also helps them because the experience of being a Big is truly one of the most amazing that you can experience. And hopefully for the kids and families, it's making a big difference in their life as well.
Awesome. And I know that you've done that for a while, so I'd love to get into some of your stories from that a little bit later on. But first,
Sure.
I'm wondering, how did you initially get involved, or more importantly, why did you initially get involved in doing this work?
Yeah, so my story with Big Brothers Big Sisters goes back to the end of college. I finished school in May of 2002 at Millersville University of PA. And I had enjoyed being a big brother in my fraternity, just thought it was a good time. So I literally opened up a phone book, and I pulled out the phone book, and I said, I want to do something to volunteer and to help people, and called up Big Brothers Big Sisters and got matched with my little brother Preston when he was 10. He's now 26. He's got to be there for fifth grade graduation, high school graduation. He's a first generation college student, did 2 years of AmeriCorps after that, and still to this day, 15 years later, is one of my best friends in this world. So it's a really, I don't know that everyone's as lucky as to find out the best volunteer fit for them 2 weeks after college, but it's been just such an amazing fit for me. I love our organization.
Yeah, wow. And I'd love to hear more about like the impact that Big Brothers Big Sisters has, and specifically the impact that you saw in that relationship with Preston, because I think it's so hard to understand from someone like me, like, what is that impact, and do you actually see it? Because I'm sure, like, for Preston, once you two knew each other, it was probably something that was pretty normal, especially over the course of 16 years now. So
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that and what it's like to be a big brother and also to have a big brother in the program?
Right. That's a good question, Matt. So I have three great little brothers. Preston now is a grown man, basically. Eric is 18, about to be 19, and just was there in June for his high school graduation. Speaking of AmeriCorps, I actually dropped him off at his AmeriCorps interview. He's going to go right into service work, which is awesome. So he'll be doing Public Allies, a program that is through the Coro Center for Civic Leadership here, but it's an AmeriCorps program. So, and then my youngest little brother through the program is 15 now. His name's EJ, and just got to take him a couple weeks ago to the Pittsburgh Penguins Stanley Cup parade. So we get to do all kinds of fun stuff together. So, I think your question, Matt, is a good one. when you're in it, you don't always know the big impact that you really are making. And I tell Big that all the time. It might take a little while for that aha moment. And I will say recently, I told E-Robs, Eric, that the good news that my wife and I are expecting our first baby. We've been married 13 years, but we're going to have a baby in January. And literally his first response was, I can't wait to be an uncle. Like, it was just the sweetest, nicest response. So he really takes that brother role seriously, and he's ready to be an uncle. So I thought that was incredibly nice. But yeah, just seeing them do better in school, seeing them aspire to big dreams. And I think one thing that we can do as a mentor in Big Brothers Big Sisters or any mentoring program that viewers of the show might be involved with is just being an advocate, being an ally, being a cheerleader for the things that your little brother or little sister, mentor or mentee is doing in their lives. Just being the person in the back of the room, cheering them on, and just being really proud for them in that moment.
Oh, wow. It's stunning to think about, because I think when a lot of people think about becoming a mentor, I'll say I volunteer with an organization called LearnServe International, where there is a piece of the program where there is more one-on-one consistent mentorship, specifically around creating these social impact projects that are important to students. So it might be a project about addressing bullying, or about creating an app that will track the spread of disease. So it runs the gamut. But I think the thing about mentorship is that it's such a big responsibility. And I think it takes a special person to say, I'm willing to be a mentor and I'm willing to support. What advice do you have for mentors otherwise? Not just for getting involved, but like for once you're involved, what does it take to be a good mentor? And I would say, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you're a great mentor. So I think you're good to ask.
I'm sure you are as well. I'm sure you are excellent as well. No, it's been good, and you're not always going to be perfect. There's going to be times where, I always tell, it's kind of like the Boy Scout, be prepared for when you take your little on an outing. And there's still times where every once in a while, we'll have tickets to a Pirates game and I'll forget to bring cash for parking. Like, there's those little mistakes that you still make as a mentor, but just giving it your best effort. And I think that's so important. We talk about the C's of mentoring: care, consistency, and concern, and just really being committed to the program. If you just keep showing up and having an above average attitude, you can be a good mentor, right? I mean, that's what it's really all about. And for a program like ours, I'm guessing like the one that you're involved with as well, Matt, there's people from organizations that'll help guide you. We have match sport specialists here at Big Brothers Big Sisters. We have site coordinators for the site-based program. So there certainly are people that help out everyone along the way as well. But if you just keep showing up, have a good attitude, and just really bring a positive enthusiasm to the relationship, you can be successful as a mentor.
So what are the difficult parts of that? Like, what do you find to be the biggest challenge of mentorship? Again, I'm really hoping to shed light on this because I think a lot of people, I know a ton of people who aren't mentors, but it's a great opportunity to become one. So what are the toughest parts of that?
I'm going to first of all call out our gender, Matt. So men, we need you to step up. Men throughout Big Brothers Big Sisters, not just here in Pittsburgh, but across the country. We need more men to get involved. That's absolutely true. Our gender is not as prolific volunteering in organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we need to be. So we need men, 22-year-old men, 72-year-old men. We need them to step up. And I think sometimes people worry about age. If people are right out of college, they say, how could I ever mentor anyone? I just got out of school. And a 72-year-old might say, well, who would want me as their mentor? Everybody wants that cool 22-year-old. The truth is, what matters is showing up. So we definitely need men across the country to step up for programs, not just Big Brothers Big Sisters, but other mentoring programs as well, to make an impact and make a difference. And you can do it. There's support. There's ways. I think for everyone, men, women, everyone, it is one of the highlights of your week, of your month, when you get to spend time with your mentee. It keeps you young, it keeps you active. Quick funny story from this last weekend. I ran an event here for Big Brothers called our 3-on-3 basketball tournament. So it's our second annual 3-on-3 basketball tournament. And it was me, my little brother, and his best friend. And, I think sometimes my little brother forgets that I'm 38, but I was the second oldest person in the tournament. And I couldn't hang. I mean, I did okay, but I couldn't hang. And I think he, like, out of the last 7 years, was the first time he was ever disappointed in me. Like, I was trying, but it just didn't work out too well. But we've had so many good times together. There's been seasons where I've gotten to take him to 3, 4, 5 Steelers games. And for those that are considering being a mentor, programs like Big Brothers Big Sisters, we get a lot of free tickets, a lot of complimentary resources. With our program, you get a free YMCA membership to the Y of your choice. So Eric and I have gotten to go for years to the YMCA for free together, but it's been absolutely fantastic. So there's a lot of resources, there are a lot of opportunities there to enjoy together.
Amazing. And I think a key thing that you mentioned were the resources and the opportunities. And you also mentioned, like, it doesn't matter if you're 22 or like 62, you could become a mentor.
Right. Absolutely.
I know that you do a lot around encouraging young people in youth leadership. Could you tell me more about that work beyond Big Brothers and Big Sisters?
Yeah, so the way I think that you and I got connected, Matt, was through Regina Anderson, and she is a wonderful person. We were very sad when we lost her in Pittsburgh to DC, but a great person. And Regina was actually one of the founding board members 7 years ago of the nonprofit that I started called Get Involved, Inc. Get Involved is all about empowering, inspiring, and educating young people to be more involved in the community. The thought is, don't be bored, be on a board, be on a young professional board. Why are you bored? Why are you sitting at home watching Netflix all day? Join something, volunteer, be on a board of directors. There's so many organizations that need 20 and 30 somethings to get involved in their groups. So that's really the goal behind Get Involved. We do it through a variety of ways. We have, for the last 6 years, we've had a program called Fast Track, the Fast Track Community Leaders Program, where it's a 12-week program, and young professionals, lifelong learners get to learn more about how they can make a direct impact in the community. We have great speakers and sessions. It's been great. The thing that Regina used to co-host with me back in the day is called the Get Involved Power Hour, and it's all about community impact, and it's all about leadership. I know it sounds more fun than maybe it is, but it is a fun event. But Power Hour we now had 64 of them, and we have a panel. We do it quarterly now. We have a panel and a different theme. When Regina and I were doing it together, we would have 50, 60 people out for it. We usually have about 30, 40. And it's really all about bringing people together. The last one was literally about lifelong learning. So we spotlighted programs like Leadership Pittsburgh, the Cora Center for Civic Leadership, just helping people find ways to stay to keep getting educated, to keep getting inspired for the rest of their lives. We ran a conference called the Empowership Conference for a number of years. And our biggest event of the year is the Pittsburgh Service Summit. We've had that now for 8 years and have taken the show on the road. We did one with Regina in DC. We had the DC Service Summit. We've done Harrisburg Service Summit, but Pittsburgh's our biggest. We usually have over 300 people every year at our Pittsburgh Service Summit. So 9 years running, and absolutely, it's one of my favorite days of the year. It's kind of like the Oscars for do-gooders here in our community. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, could you tell me more about the Service Summit? That sounds really interesting, and I'm sure that there's a lot going on. I mean, described, it's the Oscars of the
Oscars might be overselling it, but it's a pretty inspiring night. No, it's so much fun. So my thought in the Service Summit was, if folks remember back in college, they would go to an organization outbreak or an activities fair on campus, and there would be all these student organizations and clubs and different groups they get involved with. And I thought, what if we had that for Pittsburgh? What if there was, just vendors in the back of a room where young professionals, lifelong learners, everyone could just find about, what organizations need volunteers, what organizations need committee members or board members. So a big part of the Service Summit is that the vendors that are there with us, and so they have a chance to share about their organization as well during the program. We give them about 30 seconds each to share about their program, but they're there to hopefully get people signed up for their organizations and to learn about their organization. So that's a big part of it. We do have awards every year at the event as well. So we recognize some of the most amazing community leaders here in our region of all ages, which is great. A nice part is the Western PA Rising Stars, which we've been doing for 9 years. That's 20 plus people that are under 32 and under, that are making a big difference in the community. And that's been great. And then we have keynote speakers. So those are kind of the three key elements: the vendor part, the awards, and then the speakers. And I think between all three, it just sets up to be every year a really dynamite evening.
Yeah, I think especially like with that event, but also with a lot of what you're explaining, like with Get Involved, for instance, I think what's sometimes difficult for me is understanding how you get from point A, which is this idea, to point, whatever letter it is now, where you're actually executing. Like, how did you get started with, or why did you initially start Get Involved, and what was the first step that you took?
Okay, yeah, it's been, it started all with a book back in 2008, and Get Involved, Making the Most of Your 20s and 30s came out back in 2008, and just started traveling all over the country talking to students, and it's been an incredible journey, going to a lot of colleges that I'd never heard of, which was a lot of fun, and just got to talk to a lot of students. We found out that I'm not as much a business person as a nonprofit guy, so the programming within Get Involved just turned into its own 501c3, and kind of left the books and the speaking on to its own part. So, but we found that we were doing events, we were bringing people together, and we wanted to make sure that we had a chance for people to come together. So, starting with great friends, they became our board of directors. We've had friends, throughout the years that have, I don't know that we've even paid them much of anything, but they help plan the events, and, having great partners is really the key. Carlow University has been a significant part of the success of the Service Summit, a college here in Pittsburgh, and they let us have it at their school every year. They get students involved. They volunteer on it. They're incredibly, just an incredible asset to the event itself. So Carlow's been big. There's been other organizations certainly that have been really helpful with making us able to execute the fast track program. So just having great partners is certainly a big deal through it. And I always say, as soon as you have a date, a time, and a venue, you got a life. So you go for it. Start inviting people, bringing people together, and just give it a shot. I think the content that you're producing through 180, is great, right? So just put things out there, put positive things out there into the world. And if 10 people watch it, that's great. If a couple thousand watch it, that's great. It's all about just producing content and making sure that people have the resources and have the knowledge to do more and to give back.
Yeah, and I think that that's also really important, like remembering what your focus is or what it should be. And maybe, I'll say for me, one thing that's so important is to realize, what you're doing is building something, and it has some impact. So, like you were saying, 10 views or like 10,000 views or 10 million views, I think at the end of the day, you're still creating, we're all still creating something even from the beginning. I think for a lot of people, that's hard to realize. Like what I see doing marketing work, especially digital marketing, is that a lot of people think about how many followers they have for their initiative. Someone told me recently, oh man, I only have 200 followers on my Facebook page. And I was talking with her about it. And I was telling her, that's actually a lot of people who said that they're interested in what you're just creating. It might not be the goal, but that is actually a lot of people who decided, hey, I'm going to check this out. And there's an opportunity to re-engage and to build that audience and build that collective group.
Absolutely. If a couple people leave inspired, then you've done a good service, right? If a couple people watch this and they get inspired because Matt Scott put this together, that's awesome, right? That's really it's all about. Just keep creating, if that's through writing, through videos, through events, whatever it is. And it can be a combination of all those things.
Right.
Just keep putting positive things out there into the world. And like with your friend, if she's getting 200 people actually listening to what she's sharing and reading about it, and that's great. That's excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the important thing to remember, that maybe it's not making the desired impact, but it is making a positive impact, which I think is one of the important things I want to encourage people to do, just to remember that you are contributing to this broader group of people, including, yourself, including others, Regina, others that I've spoken with that are doing something great. I know that you've written 3 books, is that right? Or have you written more books?
That is,
Okay.
No, 3 is right, yeah.
All right. So could you tell me a little bit about those and how you are spreading your ideas?
Sure. Yeah. We had a book come out in 2008, 10, and 12, and the 2008 book, Get Involved, Making the Most of Your 20s and 30s. I think to this day is still probably the most successful, or the one that people have probably, if they've seen, have seen it. yeah, it was, it was great. It was all about, just getting people off their couches, getting them from playing video games, which is fine every once in a while. We had some friends in college that, when we all finished school, instead of joining organizations like we had all been involved with, we're having a little bit of a tough transition. So my wife and I were like, well, we need to try to motivate people to join things, to go to things. Aaron and I spent a lot of our 20s just being the people that would hang up codes or hand out the booklets at events just so that we could get to go. And there's nothing wrong. That's awesome, right? I mean, just finding a way to get into the event so that you can be a part of it. Paying a young professional rate oftentimes too for different events, but just trying to get in the room. We played a lot of sports out here in Pittsburgh when for me, it was coming back to Pittsburgh. For her, it was moving here for the first time. But that was just a great way to make friends who we then joined each other's organizations and got involved in each other's activities. So that's really what Get Involved was all about, helping other people coming out of college have that, those same kind of experiences. We shared in the book in a lot of the speeches. Sometimes it can feel like nobody likes you when you're 23. It's a line from a Blink-182 song, but it's really true. So you graduated 22, 23, and in high school people were helping you get involved, and college people were helping you get involved, and now you finish college and you're like, well, who wants me? I can't be on a nonprofit board of directors. I'm way too young, which isn't true, right? These groups do want you, but you don't always know, how to get involved with these civic organizations post-college. So that's kind of where the enthusiasm for Get Involved came. And this program, Leadership for Life, that we've been doing at Penn State Altoona, the goal in that program was to teach a lot of these lessons, working with my incredible partners from Penn State Altoona, Sherry Rooch and Eric Wolf and Brittany Solomon and Danny Fry. They've been great. So we've been helping students, in their junior year, their senior year, really learn these lessons even before they get out there into the professional world, so they can already have a plan in place while they're still in school to make a difference and to stay active post-college.
It's kind of mind-blowing because you are a wealth of ideas and advice and wisdom, but largely based on, it seems to me, just like trying and doing like all of these things and pursuing your passion.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I always tell young professionals, like, if you hit the lottery and you could work for any organization, something you believe in so much that you would do it for free, find a way to get there, be on their committee, be on their board, maybe work for their organization. And I would say, like, when I started in this role 9 years ago, the fact that I get to fight the positive fight every day for Big Brothers Big Sisters is pretty incredible. For me, that is the organization. If I hit the lottery and could do anything, I would still want to keep doing this and sharing about Big Brothers Big Sisters. And any given day, I usually get to give 1 to 3 speeches in our community about Big Brothers Big Sisters, and get to table at events and meet moms and help them get their 7-year-old sons and daughters and 8-year-old sons and daughters signed up, and then later that night get to encourage young professionals to be a big. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So I would say for everyone watching and learning from your efforts, Matt, just thinking about that. If they did hit the lottery, what are the things that they would want to do, and then just finding a way to do it, even on a smaller level. And just I'm a big believer. If it doesn't exist, start it. Right? I mean, if the organization that you believe in doesn't exist, obviously try to find ways to partner, become part of something else first. But if it doesn't exist, start it. And that's what we've done with Get Involved, and through great partnerships, we've had a terrific time making a difference here in the community.
And Tom, as we wrap up the interview, I want to ask my final question, because I know we could go on forever and ever. If your life were a book or a documentary, what would the title be and why?
That's so funny. So this is the most me question ever. You kind of like every event, every Get Involved event, Big Brothers Big Sisters event, there's always like people call it like my quirky icebreakers, and I love it. Yeah, I think it would have to be Get Involved, right? I mean, that's the name of the book. That's the name of our organization, and our groups. I'm sorry, the book is called Get Involved: Making the Most of Your 20s and 30s. And I hope that I've done that so far. I'm 38, so I'm getting close to my 40s. Maybe there's another book in store there, but my hope is that just we've gotten a lot of other people involved, and every day we get going at 7 a.m. and we do positive good things till 9 or 10 p.m. every night. So that's what I try to do. That's how I was brought up. My mom and dad brought me up to be that way. My dad took me from event to event to event as a kid. He passed away when he was 39 and when I was 12, and my mom stepped up to the plate literally, became a Little League coach, a Pony League coach, and a Colt League coach. And I've always said this about my mom. I did not run very fast in cross country, but had a good time being on the team. It was a good thing to be involved with. The cross country team at Alderdice High School And she came to every one of those races, and as her very slow, slow moving son ran across at the end, she was a cherry slush puppy. So,
Oh, oh, it's amazing. Like, I think that's the, I don't know. Life is so unexpected. There's so many twists and turns it could take. But I really admire what you're doing. And my biggest regret is that I haven't read your book, Get Involved. So I'm going to have to pick that up very, very, very soon. And so as we wrap up, I just want to know if people want to find you online, where should they look? What are any links or any website where they should check you out or to learn more?
There's a lot of ways to keep in touch with us, definitely on all the social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's just Baker Leadership if anyone wants to keep in touch. I would encourage everyone to look out and check out their local Big Brothers Big Sisters where they live and where they work. We'd love to have you involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters no matter where you are. Our local site here in Pittsburgh is bbbspgh.org. And for Get Involved, our website is just getinvolvedinc.org. So wherever folks are, I definitely encourage you to get more involved in your communities. Be on a board, don't be bored. And for you, Matt, I just really want to thank you for bringing together this really positive opportunity for people to learn and grow and develop throughout their whole lives, and to think about ways to get more involved in their community. I know you had Regina on, who I'm sure shared a lot of great ideas for people to be active in their community. She's a terrific example of that. And I really thank you. You're doing a lot of positive work, and I'm very appreciative of your time. And I'm also appreciative of everyone that is watching and who wants to continue to learn and grow. So that's the one thing I would leave everyone with, is just think about one way that you can make a difference in the community today. If it's signing up to volunteer, be on a committee, just go to an event, check out something new in your community, and you won't regret it.
Thank you. And I really appreciate that. And thanks for sharing not only where people could find you, but that great advice to close out. And I just want to add, I think it's so important that people are willing and able to share their experiences. Like I really appreciate that you took the time out to share all about everything you have going on. And, what I'm doing really would be nothing without people willing to speak and collaborate and share what they're doing. That's really the core of it. So I appreciate that, and want to thank you again for being part of this.
Thanks, Matt.
And I'll
keep up all your good work. Yeah, thank you.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best, and I appreciate the inspiration that you're providing.
Thank you.
For anyone who wants to get involved or stay in touch with 180 Degrees of Impact and what I'm doing, just check out Twitter at Let's You Care, Facebook.com/Let's You Care, or just the website where it's all linked, www.lets.care. But until next time, I'll talk to you later, Tom. And
thanks, Matt.
Everyone else, keep impacting.